Ever heard of a town in the U.S. where Wi-Fi is pretty much banned? Or one in Alaska where the whole population squeezes into a single building? Then there's Nebraska with its one-person town. All 50 states boast spots like these, super remote hamlets that can confuse GPS. Supply runs might require hopping state borders or even international lines, and the closest ER could be a full day's drive. Folks here gazed at vast emptiness and thought, this is ideal. I'm planting roots. Diving right in, Alabama's Eufaula, entry point to the Chattahoochee wetlands. Perched along the Chattahoochee River, with roughly 12,000 locals, Eufaula's enveloped by swamps, lazy rivers, and moss-draped trees. Long before settlers arrived, it was holy ground for the Creek Nation, seized via lopsided treaties. No major jobs anchor residents nowadays, just bass fishing derbies, antique houses, and a laid-back rhythm. Nobody relocates to Eufaula chasing ambition. They stick around for the peace, stunning views, and top-tier southern angling. Alaska's Whittier, the ultimate all-in-one building town. Picture a community where nearly all 240 residents dwell in one 14-story tower named Bigitch Towers. Beyond homes, it houses the post office, market, school, cops, and health center, all linked indoors. Sheer Peak's isolated, with access limited to a 2.5-mile single-lane tunnel on a rigid schedule. Blow the evening cutoff, and you're locked out. Add 200 inches of yearly rain, yet residents endure for jaw-dropping vistas and a bond so close it's structurally enforced. Arizona's Supai, mule-delivered mail central, deep in the Grand Canyon, this Havasupai village of about 200 has 0 roads. Reach it via 8-mile trek, chopper, or horse. Mules haul supplies down treacherous trails 5 days weekly, even prime deliveries. The tribes thrived here over 1,000 years amid turquoise falls and sheer cliffs. No vehicles, signals, or speedy escapes. It's not about ease. It's ancestral turf with a backyard unmatched globally. Arkansas's St. Paul, buried in the Boston Mountains. Certain spots resist visitors fiercely, and this is one. With just over 100 souls, St. Paul hunkers in the Ozarks' roughest folds, twisty paths through dense woods where GPS throws tantrums. Forget medical centers, franchises, or growth. Lineages trace back generations, predating statehood. Days drag leisurely, solo, and hassle-free by design. The draw? Self-reliance, elbow room, and timeless ties to unchanged terrain. California's Shelter Cove, bastion of the Lost Coast. A chunk of Cali coast defied road building due to brutal slopes. Shelter Cove clings there, where Highway 1 detoured around unstable ground. Some 700 dwellers navigate a plummeting, curvy descent to the sea. Tiny runway, spotty amenities, signal blackouts galore. Dreamed as a getaway haven, it fizzled. Instead, seclusion became the magnet. Serene, secluded, utterly unplugged. Colorado's Meeker, portal to the flat tops. Craving true solitude? Meeker's your spot. 2,400 strong in White River Valley, over 100 miles from urban hubs and ages from Denver. Vast public acres dwarf the populace. No ski spots or tourist swarms. Once Teddy Roosevelt's stomping grounds for hunts, it endures similarly. Ranching, game pursuits, pristine expanses rule. Spotty bars? That's the charm. Meeker's not for the convenience crowd. It's for hush, distance, and rare autonomy. Connecticut's Norfolk, the Nutmeg State's deep freeze. Amid New England's bustle, Norfolk seems worlds apart. This 600-person enclave nestles in Litchfield Hills, an hour from Hartford, yet worlds removed in vibe. No big box stores, No sprawling developments, and locals fiercely resist any push for change. The roads twist through dense woods, with winters delivering harsher cold and heavier snow than elsewhere in Connecticut. Though tiny, Norfolk draws international crowds to its long-standing chamber music festival. Residents linger for the serenity, deep-rooted customs, an unhurried rhythm that sets it apart amid the Northeast's frenzy. Delaware, Georgetown, the tranquil heart of Delaware. The state's compact size masks stark contrasts. Like in Georgetown, this Sussex County hub houses around 8,500 people, ringed by cropland and far from interstates. Instead of a classic town square, it centers on a rare circular plaza. Every other year, foes stage a symbolic hatchet-burying rite, a multi-generational custom. Pace of life crawls here, anchored in farming and community closeness. Folks hold on for the steady rhythm, daily familiarities, tight bonds, and escape from nearby urban rush. Florida, Okeechobee, the Everglades frontier. Florida boasts packed shores, but Okeechobee flips the script. Tucked along the Tamiami Trail within Big Cypress National Preserve, this speck of a spot nestles amid endless marshes and critters. Fewer than 100 souls call its swampy miles home year-round. Its claim to fame, a 61-square-foot post office, the nation's tiniest by official measure. Essentials lie distant, and the steamy, buggy climate never quits. Yet that's the draw. It grants raw entry to the Everglades, silent scarce in Florida, and a lifestyle worlds away from tourist traps. Georgia, Fargo, brink of the Okefenokee. Fargo, Georgia, hugs the rim of North America's vastest wetlands. Under 300 dwellers strong, it abuts the Okefenokee Swamp, a sprawling, sluggish realm of dark streams, cypresses, and beasts. The closest city demands a 45-minute haul, positioning Fargo as the final outpost before the mire dominates. Locals adapt to the wilds through fishing, hunting, and land-tuned labor. It's hushed, isolated, and geared against expansion. They endure for habit, elbow room, and rare proximity to pristine wilds. Hawaii, Kalaupapa, the seaside cliff enclave, arguably America's most cut-off settlement. Kalaupapa clings to Molokai base beneath the planet's loftiest ocean bluffs. For over a century, residency meant banishment, not choice. From 1866 to 1969, Hansen's disease sufferers got shipped to this detached peninsula, severed from Hawaii proper. Now, a few surviving patients mix with federal staff. Total count hovers near 67. No lodgings, no phone signal, just puddle jumpers for entry. Nobody relocates here. The remnants cling for its calm, safeguards, and profound ties. Idaho, salmon, portal to the river of no return. Some spots border wilds. Salmon dwells within. This 3,300-person outpost perches at the lip of the Frank Church River of no-return wilderness, the contiguous U.S.'s biggest roadless expanse. No close urban hubs. Reaching one takes hours over winter-blocked peaks. The Salmon River slices through, too treacherous for Lewis and Clark. Routines center on ranch work, outfitting trips, and boundless terrain that echoes these other havens. They stick for vastness, hush, and unfettered reach into America's remotest corner. Illinois, Kaskaskia, Illinois' abandoned stepchild, a place its state forgot. Once Illinois' capital, Kaskaskia now floats apart from the fold. The 1881 megaflood rerouted the Mississippi, stranding it west bank amid Missouri turf. Just 20 residents hang on. Access demands a Missouri detour, even mail routes that way. Legally, though, it's still Illinois, They remain because it's theirs. Maps be damned. Indiana, Shoals, home of Jug Rock. Indiana means level fields, but Shoals bucks that. Under 700 residents populate this speck in the state's densest woodlands, enveloped by Hoosier National Forest. The landscape roughs up here, jagged, rugged, far less tame than typical Indiana. Its standout attraction is Jug Rock, a towering 60-foot sandstone pillar, the biggest freestanding table rock east of the Mississippi. No big corporate chains operate here, and daily life unfolds leisurely along the White River amid cherished local customs. Folks stick around for the serene vibe, sense of familiarity, and that rare Indiana spot untouched by modern sprawl. Iowa, Elkader, the dripless outpost. Just like Indiana, plenty assume Iowa's nothing but flatlands. Elkader flips that script. Home to roughly 1,200 people, it nestles in the driftless area, a zone untouched by glaciers, featuring rugged limestone cliffs rather than endless plains. This makes it one of the Midwest's standout landscapes. Elkader's name stands out too, honoring Algerian leader Emir Abd el-Kader, a link the town nurtures to this day, even getting flood relief from Algeria after major inundations. Residents linger for the distinctive topography, rich backstory, and surprises you wouldn't peg for Iowa, Kansas, Tribune, the Western Kansas Vanishing Act. This ranks among America's sparsest inhabited spots. Tribune, in Greeley County, boasts a mere 1.6 people per square mile. The town holds about 650 souls amid vast level farmlands rolling out forever. The closest legit city lies more than an hour off, with drives that drag on endlessly. Everything orbits agriculture, the local co-op, and close-knit neighbors. Some even relocate for perks like student loan help. Tribune isn't about thrills. You settle in for the hush, reliability, and vast openness that's vanishing elsewhere. Kentucky, Inez, tucked deep in Martin County, Inez hunkers in eastern Kentucky's Appalachians, with under 500 folks and twisty roads that keep the nearest interstate over an hour distant via skinny mountain paths. It hit national headlines in 1964 during President Lyndon Johnson's War on Poverty tour. The rhythm hasn't sped up since. Daily existence centers on kin, property, and enduring customs. Nobody hangs on for simplicity. They do it for deep-rooted ties that outweigh any hassle in spots like Inez, Louisiana, Grand Isle, Louisiana's final occupied barrier island. Grand Isle marks the state's lone remaining inhabited barrier island, forever battling threats. This skinny Gulf of Mexico strip houses just shy of 1,000 people, hugging sea level and linked to the mainland by one lone road. Hurricanes pound here routinely, with beasts like Ida wrecking homes and setups badly. Still, locals rebuild relentlessly. Fishing dominates alongside a vibrant seaside heritage bound to the waves. Embracing the dangers is part of it, but locals deem the payoff huge. Gulf access, unbreakable bonds, and a coastal lifestyle like no other. Maine, Millinocket, the paper mill town stripped of its mill. What becomes of a place when its core industry folds? Millinocket once thrived on its paper mill, which closed in 2008 and gutted the economy. Rather than fade, it pivoted. Now with around 4,000 residents, it gateways Baxter State Park and Mount Katahdin, the Appalachian Trail's northern terminus. It edges the remote 100-mile wilderness, among the East's loneliest tracks. Outdoor adventures and tourism have gradually filled the void. People remain because they've evolved, and the enveloping wilds lend a fresh purpose. Maryland. Luke. The Panhandle's tight squeeze. Among Maryland's tiniest towns, Luke clings to the state's extreme west in a pinched Appalachian ridge, with fewer than 100 dwellers. For over 100 years, mirroring Millinocket, it leaned on a paper mill that shuttered in 2019, leaving a massive site under cleanup. Location-wise, it vibes more West Virginia than Maryland proper. Work's scarce, and isolation reigns, yet folks endure for cheap digs, multi-generational legacies, and a stubborn grasp on identity post-industry loss. Massachusetts. Gosnold, the Elizabeth Island's spectral town. Likely Massachusetts' stillest community, Gosnold claims about 60 full-time residents, scattered over the Elizabeth Island south of the coast. Privately held isles dominate, spotlighting Cuttyhunk as the primary open hub. Forget big roads. Golf carts rule over cars. Come winter, as seasonal visitors pack up and go, the population shrinks further, leaving the place nearly deserted and hushed. Getting there means relying on ferries or small planes, with scant services on hand. Nobody sticks around for the amenities. They choose it for the seclusion, prime ocean spots, and a tight community that seems detached from the rest of the state. Michigan, Newberry, moose capital of the Upper Peninsula. It's among the rare spots where animals outnumber folks. Perched in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, Newberry holds about 1,300 residents encircled by hundreds of thousands of acres of woods. The closest big city lies hours off, with endless highway ribbons slicing through rugged backcountry. Dubbed Michigan's moose capital, the region pulls in crowds to nearby Taquamenon Falls for its striking amber hues. Locals endure the remoteness because it's familiar. They prize nature's doorstep and a relaxed rhythm distant from the state's busier zones. Minnesota, Angle Inlet. The spot stuck behind Canada, part of the U.S. yet unreachable by road without crossing into Canada. Angle Inlet occupies the northwest angle, Minnesota's odd northward jut beyond the 49th parallel, cut off from the state by Canadian turf. Home to just over 50 people, the sole overland path runs through Manitoba and back over the border. Winters see locals using an ice road over Lake of the Woods. It even boasts a one-room school where kids cross borders several times daily. Residents hang on for the fishing, solitude, and thrill of one of America's quirkiest geographic oddities, Mississippi, Rosedale, lonely levee outpost of the Delta. Among the most cut-off spots along the Mississippi Delta, Rosedale clings to the river levee with roughly 1,300 folks, distant from highways and cities. Flood risks and spotty infrastructure amp up the seclusion. Still, it carries rich cultural weight as part of the Mississippi Blues Trail, linked to legends like Muddy Waters and immortalized in blues classics. Pace of life crawls here, intimately bound to the waterway. Ties to family, heritage, and Delta roots keep people planted. Missouri, Eminence, Ozark hub on the current. Prime remote river settlement in the Midwest. Eminence counts just over 500 souls, nestled deep in the Ozarks at the junction of the Current River and Jack's Fork. Forests, sheer limestone cliffs, and springs like the state's deepest, Blue Spring, hem it in. No big roads or chain stores close by. Reaching it demands patience, rivers, terrain, and an outdoors-focused existence far from urban sprawl hold folks there. Montana, Glasgow, dead center of nowhere, arguably the remotest spot in the lower 48. Glasgow, Montana, shelters about 3,100 people in a stretch where distances stretch forever. Nearest proper city, over 4 hours whichever way you turn. across boundless plains. Fossil halls shine here, including one of the best preserved T-Rex skeletons. The town owns its vibe, branding as the middle of nowhere. No booming industry or fast expansion. Distance, silence, and freedom from external hustle keep residents rooted. Nebraska, Monowai, sole resident town, America's only one-person burg. Monowai, Nebraska, belongs to Elsie Eiler alone since 2004. She's mayor, clerk, treasurer, all in one. Annually, she approves her own permits to sustain the town's status. Her tavern and library honoring her late husband lure gawkers nationwide. No growth, building, or ambitions, it's home, and she's vowed to sustain it solo. Nevada, Eureka, desert opera relic. Cruise Highway 50 far enough, and time stands still in this outpost. Eureka, Nevada, has around 300 dwellers along America's loneliest road. Once a silver boomtown teeming with thousands, now it's sparse and serene. Stand out is the 1880s Eureka Opera House, echoing its glory days. Neighboring spots? Miles apart. Basics are scarce. Habit and a taste for elbow room, plus peace over city frenzy, suit those who remain. New Hampshire, Pittsburgh. Northern Kingdom of New Hampshire. Pittsburgh ranks as New Hampshire's largest town by land area, though vast wilderness makes up the bulk of it. Stretching across more than 280 square miles in the state's northern reaches, it has under 1,000 residents. Positioned close to the Canadian border within the Great North Woods, Moose encounters outpace vehicle traffic there. Logging, snowmobiling, and outdoor pursuits define the region. Yet it's distant from big population hubs. Reaching the state capital requires hours of driving. Locals stick around for the room to breathe, nature at their doorstep, and separation from New England's busier zones. New Jersey, Chatsworth, heart of the Pine Barrens. Despite New Jersey's dense population, this spot stands apart entirely. Nestled deep in the Pine Barrens amid over 1 million acres of woodland, Chatsworth counts about 900 people, with growth checked by preserved lands. Sandy roads, spotty signals, and unreliable GPS are the norm. Though just 30 minutes from Philadelphia, it seems worlds away. Cranberry fields and tales of the Jersey Devil add local flavor. Residents cherish the uncommon Jersey perks of elbow room, silence, and a timeless lifestyle. New Mexico, Pie Town, Population Pie. Yep, this spot exists and truly bears that name. Perched at 7,800 feet along the Continental Divide, the minuscule New Mexico outpost has fewer than 200 people and scant modern amenities. No gas pumps, weak cell coverage, and endless empty roads stretch out. A long ago homesteaders' pies for passers-by inspired the moniker, which endured. Places like the Pioneer Cafe still lure pie seekers. Proximity to the Very Large Array, a top-tier radio telescope setup, adds intrigue. Folks linger for the peace, seclusion, and a routine barely altered in generations. New York, Long Lake, the Adirondack Deep Cut. New York's Adirondack Park ranks among the nation's biggest preserved wilds, and Long Lake lies smack in its core. Home to roughly 700 souls, the town is encircled by 6 million acres, larger than Yellowstone, with no big roads close by, and essentials often miles off. Winters plunge temps far below zero, tightening travel even more. Daily life centers on nature, summer boating, winter snowmobiling, utterly serene, isolated, and detached from the rest of the state. People commit for that wilderness access, swapping ease for solitude and expanse. North Carolina, Ocracoke, the Outer Banks' last stand. No driving in, that's key. This Outer Banks island hamlet has about 650 dwellers, reachable solely by ferry, boat, or puddle jumper, since no bridge links to the mainland. A unique dialect, the Hoy-Toiter brogue, evolved from ages of seclusion. Pirate lore runs deep, too. Blackbeard met his end nearby in 1718. Islanders embraced the divide, forging a tight-knit identity absent in linked-up spots. North Dakota, Amadon. The town even North Dakota forgot. Among the tiniest county seats nationwide, Amadon boasts just over 20 residents in sparsely settled Slope County. The vicinity holds under 1 person per square mile, one of America's most deserted stretches. Electricity arrived late here, sans any rail influence. Services are scarce, and towns lie far apart. As usual, existence stays basic and detached. Residents endure because it's routine, and the hush beats urban bustle. Ohio, Glenford, the Flint Ridge Hermitage. This Ohio pocket evokes ancient times unlike the rest. Glenford, with about 150 folks, neighbors Flint Ridge, quarried by native groups for flint tools, and commerce over 2,000 years. Rural vibes prevail, no big builds, no lights, few close amenities. Woods and fields blanket the landscape, holding steady against Ohio's typical sprawl. It stays hushed, rooted, and linked to enduring regional heritage. Oklahoma, Kenton, the no-man's land outpost. Alone in Oklahoma, this corner skips state time for mountain standard. Tucked in the Panhandle's extreme edge, with around 20 holdouts, Kenton neighbors New Mexico and Colorado more than its own turf. No Man's Land was the old name for this strip of territory that no state or government claimed for years. Nowadays, it's peaceful and cut off, bordered by vast open spaces close to Black Mesa, the tallest spot in Oklahoma. Services are basically non-existent, and everything's spread out over huge distances. Folks stick around for the solitude, and because spots this deserted are becoming scarce. Oregon's Jordan Valley in Crater Country seems like it belongs to a different state entirely. With roughly 140 people, it's tucked in the southeast corner, nearer to Idaho than any big Oregon town. The landscape is arid and expansive, molded by long-ago volcanoes. The Jordan craters nearby cover the terrain with solidified lava fields and sunken tubes from millennia back. Ranching dominates daily life, with families rooted here for generations. Settlements are sparse, neighbors miles apart. Residents endure because they're accustomed to the wide open spaces and value remoteness over easy access. Pennsylvania's Centralia, the town that's been burning underground. Flames have raged beneath it for more than 60 years, yet about 4 holdouts remain. Once a thriving mining community, it changed forever in 1962 when a coal seam ignited deep below and kept going. The earth grew hazardous with instability and poisonous fumes, prompting the state to relocate nearly all inhabitants. Roads vanished, houses razed, even the zip code dissolved. Faint smoke still seeps from fissures and spots. The few who linger call it home, despite the place mostly fading away. Rhode Island's New Shoreham on Block Island, the ferry-bound outpost. A chunk of the state lies beyond any road link. This Block Island settlement houses around 1,400 full-time dwellers, floating 12 miles out at sea. Ferries or private planes are your only entry. No bridges to the continent. Summers swell the crowds significantly, but winters turn hushed and detached. It's pioneering offshore wind power, fueling much of the area. Daily rhythms hinge on seas and boat timetables. Islanders endure for that familiar pace and the rare seclusion on offer so close to the mainland. South Carolina's Dalfusky Island. Bridge-free, car-free, carefree. No driving allowed here. Positioned between Hilton Head and Savannah, it lacks any mainland span. Roughly 700 to 800 call it home year-round, depending on watercraft to arrive. Once ashore, forget stoplights or many vehicles. Golf carts rule the roads. Rich Gullah Geechee heritage endures across generations. Pace is leisurely, dictated by waters and ferries instead of jams or sprawl. People remain for the legacy, tranquility, and enduring sense of detachment. South Dakota's Union Center, smack in the nation's core, among the nation's most isolated ranch towns. It counts about 200 locals, but sustains countless ranchers over immense western South Dakota expanses. The county dwarfs certain states, but communities are scattered thin. Closest city takes almost an hour. Surroundings are endless grassland. Existence centers on herds, property care, and vast neighbor gaps. No boom, no big builds. Ties to the soil and vanishing frontier freedom keep them planted. Tennessee's Coker Creek, site of the forgotten gold fever. Tennessee's gold boom hit here long before California's spotlight. Under 200 residents nestle inside Cherokee National Forest. Prospectors swarmed these hills in the early 1800s, predating the famed Western frenzy. Echoes persist, with creek panning still possible today. Dense woods enclose it, access tight, amenities scarce, animals roam freely, growth stays low-key. Draw is the past, scenery, and subdued existence where trees overshadow all. Texas Mentone, seat of the emptiest county, least populous in the contiguous 48, and this lone dot is its hub. A mere dozen souls inhabit Loving County's county seat. Courthouse, tiny post office, that's the gist. No school, no market. Essentials mean epic hauls. Still, it's smack amid the Permian Basin, a top oil patch nationwide. This sets up an odd mix of total remoteness and booming economic hustle. Folks stick around for the oil-related jobs, and because they're accustomed to a life where nearly everything's a haul away. Utah, Boulder, one of the final mule mail outposts. It was among the very last spots in the U.S. getting mail via mule. Boulder, Utah, home to roughly 250 people, nestles amid isolated canyons and high desert. For years, its inaccessibility meant mule-delivered mail persisted deep into the 1900s. These days, reaching it demands navigating skinny ridges like Hogsback, with sheer cliffs plunging down on either side. Far from any highway, growth stays minimal. Daily life is serene and scattered. Residents hang on for the seclusion, the landscape, and the rarity of such far-flung spots. Vermont, Canaan, Vermont's border dead end. Here's a rare place where your backyard borders another nation. Canaan, in Vermont's Northeast Kingdom, counts about 300 locals and hugs the lines with Canada and New Hampshire. In spots, an international line is mere footsteps away. That closeness keeps French in everyday use and fosters routine cross-border ties. Rural woods, lakes, and harsh winters dictate the rhythm. Development's scarce, and as you've likely gathered, so are close-by amenities. People remain tied to the area and drawn to its blend of solitude and global edge. Virginia, Tangier Island, the fading Chesapeake gem, a community that could vanish in 2 decades. Tangier Island, in Chesapeake Bay with around 400 dwellers, is steadily eroding away from rising seas and wear. Experts predict big chunks underwater soon. No cars, just golf carts and boats. And access is ferry or puddle jumper only. Adding quirk is the dialect echoing 17th century English. Crabbing and fishing anchor existence, as always. Locals endure as it's their roots, and departing would erase a heritage enduring centuries. Washington, Stehakin, the dead end at nowhere. A Washington town you can't drive to, period. Stehakin caps Lake Chelan's far shore, ringed by North Cascades, with 80 or so residents. No roads link it outward. Arrival means extended ferry, seaplane, or foot trek. Inside, a brief road stretches just 13 miles to nowhere else. Goods arrive by water, pace is glacial. They choose it for the disconnect. One of America's last true off-grid havens. West Virginia, Green Bank, the no Wi-Fi zone. Among few U.S. spots banning Wi-Fi outright. Green Bank, under 100 strong, lies within the 13,000 square mile National Radio Quiet Zone, curbing wireless emissions, all to shield the Green Bank telescope. A top-tier radio observatory. Tiny gadget buzz can skew data, so cell setups are rare and tech policed. A dedicated ranger hunts rogue signals. Dwellers relish the silence, acoustic and online, a true escape from endless pings. Wisconsin, La Pointe, Madeline Island's winter stalwarts. Winter isolation hits hard here. La Pointe, on Madeline Island in Lake Superior, has 300 full-time locals. Summer ferries link to shore, but ice locks that down come cold. Then it's bush plains, or, if solid, an ice highway. Trucks rumble across when safe. Seasons rule everything. They embrace the rhythm and the otherworldly island vibe born of separation. Wyoming, Dubois, Absaroka's edge into emptiness. Wyoming's last bastion of pure wildness. Dubois, population near 1,000, hunkers in Wind River Valley amid peaks and vast expanses. Major hubs are distant. Surroundings swiftly go primal. Ranching and old rail days still echo in routines. Long winters, slim services, epic town gaps. No rush to build or bustle. Folks stick around for the slower rhythm of life, the vast open spaces, and the self-reliance found in the state's most isolated corners. What's the wildest geography fact for every U.S. state?